Hey everybody, it's Small G Gay. Oh, Space the Final Frontier. My boyfriend thinks that Star Trek is the ultimate socialist statement. I don't agree at all. I see it as the ultimate libertarian statement. Um, there's a lot of basic things about differences between the left and the right that I find really interesting. Apparently my birds do too because they're very excited this morning. Um, just a couple of key differences that I find fascinating. One of them is the difference in how people are viewed. The left puts difference in the top tier and downplays similarity. So the individual identity takes precedence over everything else. And yet at the same time, then you are collected by those individual, usually physical characteristics, physical, religious, or sexual are usually the dividing lines. They group them in. So these characteristics take precedence, and it's supposed to be your individuality, but then you are all collected together based on that particular attribute, rather than as the whole person. Conservatives look at American conservatives look at all of us as equals. Therefore, we are all called Americans. And then the differences are minor. So you take a look at this is why it connects to Star Trek. You take a look at the Star Trek Enterprise, for the Starship Enterprise, for example. This is an analogy. All of the characters have their individuality. You know, Uhura is from Africa, and Spock is from Vulcan, and they all have their individual cultures and traditions. Being in the 1960s in a liberal period, almost a stereotypical effect. Scotty is from Scotland, and Chekhov is always quoting great Russian writers, and they all have their own distinctive personalities, nationalities, and their own religions. But their primary purpose is to be team members aboard the Starship Enterprise. And they work together as a team of individuals, but a team. And Reagan talked about that too. I learned from Tammy Bruce, and it really kind of helps you understand that it's not just a question of being a selfish person that lives in an ivory tower, but being an individual who works on a team like the Star Trek crew or like the X-Men, where each one is an individual and has their own thing going on, but they're working together. Under liberalism, the Starship Enterprise would have one crew for Africans, one ship for Africans, one ship for Vulcans, one ship for gay people, one ship for straight people, rather than everyone working together. And that splinters people, and the government uses that to divide people and to get votes, to scare people, and to control people. That's one aspect of it. Another aspect that's very, very telling, and this is one of the biggest reasons why the left keeps failing, is a complete misunderstanding of the Constitution on the left. The Constitution does not give us our rights. The whole concept of gays fighting for their rights is moronic and doomed to fail because it's not constitutional. Let me explain this. Under the Constitution, you are born with your gay rights. Those are your God-given gay rights. That's got something to offend 5 or 6 different people. But that's how they worded it. So you can say that they're natural, given rights, however you want to say that. But those are rights that are given by virtue of the fact that you exist. The Constitution is there to control the government. So in a case like Don't Ask, Don't Tell, it's not about getting your right to serve. You already have your right to serve. It's about getting the government to stop interfering with your right to serve. Okay? The whole way that the gay community is fighting is backward. You should be fighting just like the Stonewall people fought to end police raids. You have to stop the government interfering with you. It's not about getting stuff from the government. It's about getting them out of your hair. Another thing that they don't understand about conservatives is that they think that conservatives don't like people or they don't care about poor people or blah, blah, blah. Conservatives give to charity more than liberal people do. All conservatives want to do is handle that in private organizations, which the gay community already has. We have private organizations. They don't want that to be handled by the government. That's all. You know. And some people say, oh, then the government can't. They take it to such an extreme. The left jumps so they think everyone is like some hardcore, anarcho-capitalist. That's a total exaggeration. Well, that means that no government funds for private organizations because you just expect everyone to. No. First of all, there's already private institutions in place that have done more historically than the government has for any minority. If your taxes are cut, you can donate more to organizations. And something else that the left might want to try, they talk all about the masses all the time, but they might want to actually try volunteering for some of these organizations. Those are some really key differences in approach. And the thing of it is that there's really not a whole lot of room for argument because it is the way the Constitution is set up. To get gay rights under the terms that the gay community wants, you'd have to totally change the Constitution, which they do want, It's ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. And there's a lot of narcissism. There's a lot of narcissism and just bone stupidity. It's like we'll be the ones to redefine everything. But yeah, Gene Roddenberry was a humanist and a futurist, but he was also a free thinker. And there are a lot of episodes of Star Trek that point to free thinking. I like the one, what is it called, This Side of Paradise, where Spock and the Enterprise crew go down to the planet where everyone's like stoned because of the flowers. Remember that one? And they've just been living like hippies. It's like San Francisco. And Spock is zapped by the flowers. And he suddenly has emotions, and he's, fooling around with Jill Ireland, climbing trees. Jill Ireland. And Kirk is the only one who's unaffected. No, he's the only one who hasn't been exposed. But then they bring a flower aboard the Enterprise. It's like a trifid, and it hits him. And then they realize that he fights it because his love for the ship is greater than his love for the flowers. And he fights it, and he realizes that extreme emotion destroys the lackadaisical lifestyle of the lotus-eating, marijuana-smoking flower people. I would add passion. I think passion is what destroys it. And remember the scene where the head of the colony wakes up, and he looks around and he says, all this time we've accomplished nothing here. I think that's the realization one has when one is freed from the leftist mindset. That it's all a whole lot of onanistic posturing and conformity, and that you've accomplished nothing. So, something to live by. On the other hand, in fairness, Spock is kind of sad when he's not on his flowers anymore because he can't climb trees with Jill Ireland. Oh, life is complicated. Smudgy Gig, explaining the Constitution through the Star Trek model. Signing out.